And which button is going to go to the thing? Because I don't know where it is. Welcome to The Poll, our Thursday show where we actually discuss comic books. Oddly enough, the show where we did discuss comic books became a show where we don't discuss comic books. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. So we made another show for that. Our usual hosts are here. I'm Benny the Comicstorian. I recap comic books dramatically on my channel on YouTube, known as Comicstorian. That is Sal from Comic Pop, where you can go and get amazing explanations of a comic book given to noobs and where they ask questions and they look dumb. I said it, Bet is dumb. Joel is from Cape Joel, where he does your favorite reviews on comic books, and he goes through a kitchen and he tries to cook things, and this is the most promotion I've ever given Joel. Go check Cape Joel.
It's a weird feeling to get this much promotion, honestly.
And today's guest is Sammy Reeds. I didn't explain this to her, but Sammy, this is your as much time as you want to promote yourself moment.
Oh gosh, this is...
Sammy does great reviews. I can do it if you want, but you're more than welcome to promote yourself here.
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. I do great reviews.
She does great reviews. You're also on a few podcasts yourself at this point, aren't you? Or no? Possibly? If it ever airs again.
I will say, the most exciting thing is that both Tiffany and I, Tiffany from Comic Pop, are both on it's called Hanna-Barbera. Or Barbera. I don't know. People have been saying it.
It's Hanna-Barbera, so it's supposed to be.
The book club for DC on their DC Fans channel, and mine hasn't premiered yet, but that's exciting. So that's happening right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah. See, there you go. That's how you promote yourself. We should go through like a class of promotion. Like just an example. What Twitter are you at, Sammy, that they can follow you on in a hurry?
I am at Sammy Reeds.
All right, guys, and crap! I just remembered I didn't pull up the comic books properly. So
stall for time until Benny does that, everybody.
It's gonna take me only a second.
How was your week, guys? What's going on with
Canadian bacon. It's not Canadian bacon.
It's not Canadian bacon.
We call it female bacon because it used to be cured in female.
Because you pee?
That's funny. Never heard that one before.
Did you know you're Canadian?
I know
that's like my running gag with Faust. Faust, did you know you're gay? The commenters want to let you know.
They do like to let him know. It's very bizarre.
An alarming amount, you could say.
I'm a girl.
Yeah, like a suspicious
did they let you know that?
Yeah, all the time.
Just in case you were wondering, you are a girl, Sammy.
24/7.
Called it.
All right, guys, so as usual, we're going to read off all of the comic books that came out this week, and they're going to make hilarious jokes about them. That's what we do here.
Don't promise that. We can't deliver
It's
that.
the bit, it's the gimmick, it doesn't always work.
If they don't make funny jokes about it, they're all fired.
Well, geez, now that you put our feet to the fire on this one.
All right, guys, so starting at the top, we have 401 AD, issue number 2. A-Force number 6, All New Wolverine number 9, that's the Road to Civil War 2. We have All New, All Different Avengers number 10, The Amazing World of Gumball, Amazing Forest. We have Amazing Spider-Man number 13, where apparently he's fighting Iron Man. I have no idea why. We have Amber Adams, Amelia Cole, Angry Birds.
Jeez, it's almost like they have a movie or something.
Yeah.
Aquarius. Laugh by Archie. That's it. We have Arctic Comics. Army of Darkness, Furious Road. Arrow, The Dark Archer. That's a tie-in for the television show.
Written by the actor.
Art of the Painted. I cannot pronounce this one, but the second name on it is Myriad Law. Subtitle.
Okay.
Badger. Is this another Canadian book? Baltimore. Batman Beyond. Batman Europa, Director's Cut. We have Batman Rebirth. We have that one.
That one there, look at it.
We have Black Death in America. That sounds like it could be totally racist. Bloodlines, Bob's Burgers, Quietus, Claws. We have Carbon Gray, Casanova. I can't pronounce the subtitle. We have another issue of Chaos Campus, Sorority Girls versus Zombies.
They've been getting a lot of good push on this show from us, I must say. We mention them almost every week.
Charge, Chavo Guerrez War, Warriors, Chavo Guerrez, Chave.
Oh my gosh.
Warriors Creed. I tried. At least I tried on that one. Chem 19, Chunks, Cinema Purgato, Civil War issue number 1 of Civil War 2.
Which is technically the third.
Commando issue number 4,919.
Jeez. Got a lot of catching up
What is that
to do.
that it's that high?
Too many.
Yeah.
Too long, didn't read.
Half Pint Commando. Those are also on issue 4,922. That's got to be something that we've all been missing. Conjurer Zero, Contest of Champions number 9. Apparently that's going to end at issue 10. Control issue 1. Capra versus DYDY. Danger Wolf, Daredevil, and the Punisher team up in 7th Circle. Dark Souls issue number 2. Darkest Love, volume 1. Love. Oh, Darkest Night, volume 1. Love.
Oh.
Deadly Class, Deadpool issue number 13, Deus Ex, Deuce X. I don't care how you want it said.
Deus.
It's on issue 4.
It is Deus.
It's Deuce now, just to mess with you guys.
Deuce X.
What was that, Sammy?
I said poop. I'm sorry.
Because that's what
Deuce
it
is
is.
dropped on
Deuces.
X. The Discipline number 4, Dr. Fate, Doctor Who, Dragonlance, Drive, or just Drive, Eagle, Elephant Man. What? Okay. Frankenstein's Womb.
Oh.
Ugh.
Yeah, that doesn't sound pleasant at
That sounds
all.
horrifying.
Borrowed.
It's a graphic novel written by Warren Ellis, so you know it's not
Oh.
pleasant.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, in that case, it might be awesome.
It's probably an awesome book that everyone's going to be grotesquely like.
Yep, probably.
Giant Days, The Goddamned, Godzilla Oblivion, Gold Digger, which I've actually read and is not about a girl trying to get with guys that are rich. Go figure.
Is it about actually digging for gold? Now
It
I'm
is.
interested.
Green Arrow Rebirth, Green Lantern Rebirth, Gun Fury, Haganai, I don't have that many friends. That's the name of the book.
Are you sure?
Name like that? Why
No,
wouldn't you-
that's
any
literally the
fr-
name of the friend. Is this me projecting on you guys?
Yeah.
Is that-
Yep.
Haphazard, Harmony Unbound, Haunted, Unseen Shadows, The Heart That Makes Us, Heavy Metal, Hellboy, Hero Ted. Oh, I gotta read that. The Hitmen, I Hate Snakes. That's literally the name of the issue. Independence Day, Insufferable,
Sweet.
Interceptor, Invincible Iron Man, number 10. That's the Civil War II tie-in. Jack the Hunted, and I don't think Jack's in the cover. That looks like a girl in a red dress. Jughead and Archie, Jumbo Comics, issue number 21. Last Gang in Town, Last Ride for the Horsemen, The League of Champions, The Legends of Oz. That looks cool. Limbo, Whoa, I'm got that. Little Mermaid. Okay. Living Finger. That's Grim Fairy Tale's Living Mermaid. She's probably topless half the book.
Really?
The Living Finger, Lookers, March, Mary? We'll go with Marie. Marie of the Dragons.
There you go.
And then a bunch of preview books they put out. Messages in the Messages in the Bottle. And this I need to ask because Joel probably read it. Power Rangers Pink. What is that?
Okay, so it's literally like a little side issue just on Kimberly, and it's actually really freaking good.
Okay.
It is really good.
Is it?
And
Yeah.
they didn't focus enough on her in the original like Power Rangers comic
true.
that came out a little while ago. So I was really glad they came out with this.
I hope it catches on, and I hope every individual Ranger gets their own.
If
little
you
side
want,
story.
you guys can talk about it in length in our review, but let's keep moving here for now. You guys. Well, we don't need to review it. I got
it's
more
true.
to read.
Fair enough.
Miss Fury, Monster, Moon Knight, Mutiny on the Mousy, Nailbiter,
Get it?
The Nameless, Narbonic, the New Praetorians. Seriously, back to my thing before. Don't make your comic name difficult to say. Ninjak, Nan Biori. I can say that. What? Nowhere Men, Old Man Logan, Paper Girls, Power Lines, Predator, Prometheus. Yeah, it's Prometheus. Is that a Prometheus? It's Prometheus.
Yes.
Providence, Public Relations. I guess it's about public relations. The Punisher,
No,
issue
really.
number 2. Rainbow in the Dark. I don't.
Ooh, Ronnie James Dio, Rainbow in the Dark.
Red Agent. We're almost done for those of you guys that just wanted to get the reviews. We are getting there. Don't worry. The Regular Show. Revisionist. ROM. Someone told me to read that. Said it's amazing.
Yeah.
The Space
Rough
Knight.
Riders. It's moving on its own. The Sacred Blacksmith. Saints. Sanjay and Craig.
Based
Guess
on the
that's the show
cartoon.
I don't know about. Okay.
Okay.
It looks like a show, so I was like,
It's a cartoon. Yeah.
Satellite Falling, Savage Dragon, Secret Wars, Last Days compilation. Some of those are okay. The Shadow, Boo.
Yeah. Who wants to?
Skin Horse, Snow White versus Snow White. Okay.
Okay.
Shouldn't it be versus Rose Red, but okay.
I have no idea. Sorcery 101, Soul Men. Southern Knights, Space
That was an
Brothers,
underrated
Spider-Man
movie,
2099.
Soul Man.
I thought they canceled Spider-Man 2099.
No.
Spider-Woman Volume 1 came out. Spider-Woman number 8, I guess she's going to fight Tiger Shark. And Spider-Women Omega is done. Yeah, Star Trek Archives, Strange Attractors, Strawberry Shortcake. Everyone read that, please. I want to
Strawberry
see.
shortcake?
Yeah.
Wow.
I bet she fights the purple pie man at some point.
Stray Bullets, Sunshine and Roses, Super Suckers, Superman Rebirth, Superman: The Coming of the Supermen. That's the Neil Adams book.
Yep, weird as hell.
God, no.
Survivors Club, Swamp Punks. What?
Swamp Punks.
Tail Wands, Volume 1 through 3, Collected Edition. TMNT, Volume 14. If you haven't been reading the IDW series, it's goddamn amazing. That's why I started doing it on the channel finally. And then there's a tie-in, TMNT, Turtles, Allies and Enemies. And then there's another book, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Bebop and Rocksteady, Destroy Everything. That's
They get a spin-off. See, I will actually read the hell out of that.
That's funny.
It's almost like they have a movie coming out or something, so
Yeah.
they want as much content as possible.
Teeny Titans, I don't care, not reading it. Template, Inhumans 1, the compilation. Oh no, this is just Time the Comics, that doesn't matter, whatever.
Yeah.
Transformers Volume 9 came out. Unfollow, The Uniques, Vampirella Archives. Does anybody read Vampirella?
No one who would
look
admit
at the
to reading it.
pictures, I think.
Well, no. Well, I feel like, because I've seen some of the recent stuff where they finally put clothes on her, and I feel like I feel like
they
it's
did reboot her.
Yeah,
That's right.
I feel like it's a Witchblade situation where they're like, oh, she can wear clothing.
We're not TNA anymore.
The Walking Dead Spirit, The Woods, volume, issue 23 and the volume 4 came out, and X-Men 92, You Lose. And you
Put it right out there.
YIU. We'll go with that. Whatever that is. I don't. That's the end of that. I read all the comics again.
Yay!
Did it.
Golf clap, golf clap.
Alrighty. For the record, does anyone feel like reading Teeny Titans?
No.
They sound tiny.
Okay, so just to continue what you guys were saying before it lose your train of thought, I actually bought all the Power Rangers based on seeing Pink. I'm like, oh, they're going to do more than just a 6-issue limited run that no one's going to like. Obviously, they're expanding this, so I grabbed all of it to see what it all is. How is Pink? Power Rangers Pink. I'll say that.
Pink is cool.
Yeah, I mean it's fun.
Okay.
And that's what I like.
It's keeping up with what Kyle Higgins sort of started this idea where it's like, let's look at these very one-dimensional characters we all remember as kids, and let's actually try and expand them and see what's going on in their lives and everything, and let's give them actual, 2016 problems.
That's
Okay.
cool.
So overall, you guys will say read those Power Ranger books because I definitely bought them.
Oh, they're great.
So.
I would say so. Art is great. So yeah.
Mhm.
The main book's only on issue 3, I believe.
Yes,
And
it
then
is.
then
Well,
nothing else
okay, technically 4 if you count the 0 issue, but yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there you go. Power Rangers is good. New issue came out this week. Go check it out. Let's talk
Go
about
support Kyle Higgins. That dude got a raw deal over at DC, so I'm glad he's getting to write something he likes. He got kind of a raw deal.
Oh well.
Well,
So okay, then let's talk about the other topic at hand here. Let's start at the top of the hour. DC Rebirth Batman. Everyone read that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Personally, I liked it.
It was fine.
Yeah.
It was another send-off issue because apparently he needed 3.
And that's the only problem I have with it. I felt like it was yet another send-off without actually establishing anything. So it's like we have 3 send-offs, so 3 solo Batman stories, which as a person who's been reading all of these arcs, kind of getting a little burned out on 10-issue Batman arcs, so it's
Yeah.
not bad to have these singles.
Yep.
No.
I mean, what did you guys think about it?
It was cool to see Duke finally come to the house and have Batman sort of acknowledge him in a way he hasn't in all the other books, and them to kind of reach an interesting understanding with Duke being like, I don't really need a Batman. I'm doing fine on my own. And Batman's like, good. I don't really need a Robin right now. So let's just work this out. Here's a new costume.
Yeah.
I thought it was all right. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I was expecting a little bit more, seeing as it is like a DC Rebirth number
Right.
1 title. But there wasn't like a moment or a scene or a panel that really was like, wow, this makes me super excited. Like I'll keep reading it, but like there was just nothing that really pulled me, which was slightly disappointing. But I mean, as a whole, I mean, still pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was I feel like it was a fun story about Calendar Man, and I feel like we learned more about Calendar Man than we've ever known before.
A new and improved Calendar Man who is a Lovecraftian horror who ages with the season and sheds his own skin. And I'm like,
the weirdest thing ever.
It's funny because this is both Tom King, the new guy, and Scott Snyder, the old guy. And I'm like, it's hard to pick out who did what. Oh yeah, Snyder definitely did the body horror. Yep, that was him. That was his idea.
And I feel like the big thing that I was disappointed in was this Rebirth, unlike the other issues that really did actually a really good job of setting up the future stories, this one kind of just teased it without setting it up.
It literally wallowed in the past. In fact, the moral of the story was, hey, you know what? Batman is constantly in a cycle of death and rebirth. We're a lot alike, me and Calendar Man. And I know when I told that to Sal earlier, he rolled his eyes. I guess his inner English teacher came out for a second.
It was just like, how more on the nose can you possibly make Batman? Like, we went from, it's funny because we had Grant Morrison, which is when I was like, I think I'm going to get back into Batman. The time to get back into Batman was not when Grant Morrison started doing it. And it was just very intellectual, much more like about like the legacy of Batman without actually, it was a nightmare for me. But like, then Snyder was like, okay, how about a guy who dressed like a bat and punches bad guys? And you're like, okay, I'm in. But then Snyder's like, okay, now that I've got you, I'm going to make it about Gotham, and it's this living character that's part of Batman. And then he turns it into this whole like pseudo like intellectual English professor kind of thing, and you're like,
meditation,
all right, I'm along. Yeah. As long as Batman does punch Clayface, I guess I'm on board. But like this issue was it just felt like Snyder was almost not. It felt a little bit Jay Leno-y in his. I don't know if I'm ready to leave yet. I still have plenty more long-winded Batman stuff to talk about. Oh, okay, I guess I'll just do it all in All-Star Batman.
Yeah, it's not even like he's going very far either.
Not, like, I kind of was like, it didn't. It felt like more of the same. When it's a Rebirth issue, it needed to feel like something else.
Right.
Even if it felt like the same stories, but like written by somebody else with a totally different like narrative drive, it should have felt more refreshingly different. That's my complaint.
I mean, I think this could have really easily been almost like a preview for Rebirth, like almost like an issue. Yeah, even an issue 0, even though I hate those, like I think that would have been a little more appropriate. And I mean, I love Scott Snyder and Tom King, but I mean, and this wasn't bad. Like it was not a terrible issue, but like you said, as far as like here's Rebirth, but except Batman's just gonna talk about it a little bit. It's like
Batman literally kicking the same tree he's been kicking since year one.
The biggest thing that irritated me in that whole thing was his like the whole tease of like Duke being like, I don't need Batman, and Batman being like, well, I don't need a Robin, and then I'm like leading him through, and he shows him the new suit, and it's like, okay, so what is Duke gonna do? Like,
you're gonna be my Robin in everything but name.
For me, it felt like Snyder's like, I'm setting up Duke. Duke could be the new Robin. Tom King's like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. And they're like, oh, and Snyder's like, well, can I co-write it with you so that I could do something with Duke? Because Duke doesn't fit in with my All-Star Batman book, and Tom King's like, sure, man, you could do whatever. Put him in a yellow, so I don't care, or whatever. Just get rid of him.
Well, hey, and the funny thing is neither of them are going to be writing Duke. Duke is going to be moving over with Tynan and Detective Comics, and that's where he's going to hang out.
Yeah, good. I don't care about all these Robins.
I like to they bring up Duke. Never do they mention the We Are Robin youth movement. I'm like, good, because all those characters.
There's like a 2-second mention of it.
There's like one panel where he's like, I was a Robin, and they show pretty much like a panel from We Are Robin.
How did I miss that?
I don't know.
Because you're Joel. All right, so
do I just have blinders on for We Are Robin? Where it's like, no, those other kids don't exist.
All right, so and it says I do apologize. I didn't get to explain anything to you ahead of time, Sammy. But so we always end each one of these individual issue reviews by deciding, is it safe to pick this up and not be able to read any previous issues? Is it a safe issue? Or should you recommend holding off for right now or getting the full run? That's always one the recommendation is. For me, I say Batman Rebirth. If you're just getting into DC Comics, great place to start at least.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or if you're a completionist. If not, I would say you could probably wait till the first issue of Tom King's run when he gets the ball rolling for real.
This was absolutely, you could skip it if you want, or if you want to jump on board here, fine. Yeah. I feel like it's going to feel different when Batman finally gets going.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Okay, so moving on to the next one, let's go to the other big guy, Superman.
Mm-hmm. And
personally, I'm just gonna, as much as I liked this issue, I felt like the entire thing was just epilogue to Final Days of Superman.
It really was. and
all it was.
especially more so because they were having to answer a question that I thought they never had to answer, and that is, well, Old 52 Superman never asked Superman from another Earth if he wanted to take over. He asked literally everyone else but him. In fact, they shared precious few words between each other,
yeah.
and it's
Like, hi, who are you? Oh, don't worry about that. I'm here to help. Good to know. Pow!
Don't worry, pal. Yeah, it was them answering that question, him saying, you know, maybe I should stick around and be Superman. That was the whole crux of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it felt fun. It was cool. My only issue was Doug Menke's art.
I didn't mind the art. I didn't.
I didn't like it at all.
It looked better in certain, like...
What was it specifically? Was it like the faces
The
or
face. It was just. It was.
That's
it
kind of
was-
what got me a couple times.
It was the faces, and it was like, and you know what's funny? It tricked me a couple times because they were doing things a lot. Like there was a lot of action within the first couple of pages, but then when the rest of the book is literally just Superman talking to people, and rather one person. And once it got to there, and Superman's just like, "Yeah, it's me," and like I don't know, it just there was very little like variation between the character between like men with muscles. They all look the same. And they all had kind of like similar weird faces. It just there was an uncanny valley situation with me where I'm like, they don't quite look human. I don't really like that because that's not what they are human.
Now, how did you feel, Sal, being a big fan of Death of Superman and talking about that to Noah? And how did you like old universe Superman basically sitting down and telling new Lana Lang that time that he died?
It's weird that they would do that. It was a weird choice, but it was cool because they outright referenced it. Like there were literal lines from the book, like from Reign of the Supermen. Like they pulled lines from that. I was like, that's cool. Like, way to go. They even threw in there's even one panel of the super mullet. So
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, when he comes
Because
back,
Abnett was
he's like,
involved
and I
with
came
that
back,
stuff.
and I even saw that. I was like, they referenced the mullet.
they referenced the mullet. I was like, that's kind of funny. I also like the Superman's like, well, obviously he's going to come back. You have to use a healing matrix.
Yeah,
like,
I did like that. I feel like this whole issue in general, whole purpose was because Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman, whatever it was called, the Lois and Clark book, it did a crappy job of really explaining what he was doing here. Because I think they expected to go longer than issue 6.
I don't think they expected to go longer at all. I think they were expecting like 3 issues. Like I think that
they explained why he was there, but they didn't explain much about his motivations or anything.
No, they don't care. Like the motivation is like he's trying to raise a son with his wife in a world that he doesn't understand, and he knows that he's Superman, but he's trying to stay out of it. Like that's it. Like he doesn't want to be Superman right now, but he also knows that he can't help it. He has to be Superman.
I have the power to do. They even say it at the beginning of this issue: evil only prevails when good men choose to do nothing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how did you feel? Because you've had very little to say about this one, Sam.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know because I mean I guess it did give us some slight closure, but kind of with the Batman thing. I mean, so where is it going to go from here? Like, how much do you think that this issue set up the future Superman story?
I think all it really did, because I got a lot of tweets today from people being like, I read that, what the heck's going on? And I feel like that issue explained just as much information as we have about that Superman as we've always had. Because we had nothing else. Like,
No question.
I'm here, I've been hiding out, I've got a family, that's the deal.
Also, the chat was quick to correct me there. It was Jurgens, not Abnett. I misspoke.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Out of all the Rebirth issues, I feel like this one is less of an official Rebirth. I felt it was a great issue, don't get me wrong, but I've also been reading all the Final Days of Superman. I don't know.
Yeah, so like for a brand new person, I'd be a little more hesitant to recommend it. They would be like, I don't understand. Yeah,
it's true.
You've got a dead guy over here, and you got a guy that has the S, and he's over here.
Looks just like him.
The funny thing is, for me, this felt like the most Rebirth type of book because it's literally about Rebirth, but it's also about setting up a new status quo.
Oh yeah.
At the very least, like because I remember when they were like, we're doing this book, Rebirth, and then other number ones coming out after that. I'm like, these are 0 issues. These are setup issues. These are ground setting issues.
Well, I think I mean we'll get to them next, but I feel like Green Arrow and Green Lantern did the best jobs. Of
yes, Green Lantern's definitely. I didn't read Green Arrow, but
I read Green Arrow, didn't read Green Lantern, so we'll have to switch off there.
So we'll do Green Arrow first, and we'll do Green Lantern. Okay.
Awesome.
So overall, I mean, I think with Superman Rebirth, I don't actually recommend it for new readers, but it's still a great issue if you've been following along the whole thing. I think
if you were new but you've read comics before, you could fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, but
I think you
haven't
could
read
fill in the
any
gaps
New
with like who
52
cares.
comics, yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff where you're like, oh, whatever.
Right.
Okay. So I mean, does everyone like? So basically, new reader or not? What do you think, Sammy, Joel?
I'd say depends on how new reader. Like if you haven't read comics in a while, but you've read them before, sure, go ahead.
If you're up to date on the death of Superman, and that's
Yeah,
not going to throw you for a loop,
if
then
you're
pick
at
it up.
least that far, you're fine. I
Okay.
think, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then moving on to the next one, let's go to Green Arrow. Out of all of these, this is my favorite rebirth.
Yeah,
Same
that's
here. It was super strong. Benjamin Percy, I've been singing his praises because he wrote the run previous to this. Yeah, you could argue he kind of lost his mind near the end with Werewolf, whatever. But it was DCU, man. It was a crazy time. Everyone was doing whatever. You can't hold that against him.
I'm a huge Green Lantern fan, and I actually wasn't. I have never really been a huge fan of Green Arrow's comics, but I loved this issue. The whole issue is basically just about, hey, they finally meet. Hey, conveniently, he shaves the beard down into a goatee, and they make fun of it the whole issue. They finally go back and forth. They work all the stuff out that they know about each other, and in the end of the day, they're together. We finally have them together.
It's beautiful how they set up the relationship and being like, these are two people who not only love each other, but they challenge each other. And that's something I loved about the relationship. Like with Black Canary saying, even amongst the Justice League, even amongst the Gotham set there, Ollie, they think you're something of a radical and something of an outsider, and you rub people the wrong way because you're so politically opinionated. I'm like, yeah, that's the Green Arrow I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you, Joel, I really liked the previous run of Green Arrow a lot. And I hadn't read too much Green Arrow beforehand. Like I'd read some standalone comics and graphic novels and stuff. But enough to know that like this reunion between like Black Canary and Green Arrow, it's like, it feels right. Like I'm like, yes, this is where it's supposed to be.
That way.
So it's like great art. The relationship between Black Canary and Green Arrow is set again. And then the art was just really good.
Yes.
The art was incredible in that issue. You could feel the motion, the action. You could feel everything that was happening in the panels. I was probably out of all the art that we had for DC Rebirth, I was like looking at every panel and just
it looks beautiful, especially the stuff at night.
Yeah, and like what you were saying, Sal, you were like, the Superman, some of the faces kind of like jarred you out of the story sometimes because you're like, but it's like the complete opposite with Green Arrow. Like you don't even realize you're reading until you're like,
I did. Whoa. I snuck ahead and I saw the Dinah Ollie get together scene, and I looked at the art and I was like, this was really good.
The art is so good it makes me forgive a thing I thought I would hate, and that is that Green Arrow's new costume is basically just them splitting the difference between the new TV show version and his classic version.
That is exactly what I thought.
And I'm like, I should hate this, but the way the artist does it, it looks really good.
No, and also, I think that's a good way to bring the TV show watchers into it. So it's fine. I'm okay with it.
Without having to bury everything writers did before, like the last time they said, we'll just have people from the TV show write the comic, and everybody will love it.
No, that was a nightmare.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Let's go to the Green Lantern. I do have to step away for 2 seconds, so I'm just going to throw my opinions out for Green Lantern. Well, a Green Arrow overall, real quick.
Yeah.
I think it was a great jumping off point for new readers. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can read that and like you're on board. Enjoy.
It's everything you need to know in one issue. They get both, Dinah and Ollie. They get their characters out perfectly, and like this is what you're in for.
And what did you think, Sammy?
This is great, and this is one that I'm like, I can't wait to see where they take this because this first issue was so satisfying. I'm like, it doesn't even matter what they do at this point. Like everything's right. So
and they're
as long as I keep this,
stuff.
I'm fine.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, so real quick, I'm just gonna say you guys can discuss the Green Lantern. If I'm not back yet, go ahead and just move on to like another comic or whatever.
Okay.
But overall, I thought Green Lantern was great. But Sal and Joel, you guys hash it out. I'll be back in like a couple minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Green Lanterns was cool.
What was it about, Sal?
That was Jesse Cruz and Simon Baz being annoying and Hal Jordan giving them the smackdown.
being the rookies, being, the new up-and-comers. Hal gets to have his own book, and they get to have one, too.
It's hilarious, because, so we haven't seen Simon Baz in a while.
Oh, they buried him super hard after he was the new hotness. They're like, yeah, but we want to bring Hal back, though.
And then, then they established that Jesse Cruz is a Green Lantern after the events of Darkseid War. Spoilers for that.
Another one for Earth, which is a big deal, because it's like, why does Earth have this many?
And they mention that in Darkseid War, and then they bring it back around in this issue, of course, establishing no, there is a reason that Earth is going to have Earth needs so many Green Lanterns, and I think Hal even addresses it where he's like, "You both need to get your shit together," and so as such, he does a little like parenting maneuver that forces them to work together. Because Simon Baz is being a real pain in the ass about it for no reason. Like he finds out that Jessica Cruz is a Green Lantern, and he basically is like, we have one too many Green Lanterns, and I'm a seasoned Green Lantern. I'm the most recent one, and I'm pretty great. And so why don't you just take a back seat to my my little action here?
Look, I'm barely getting any panel time at all. I was promised a lot. I was gonna be Miss Marvel before Miss Marvel, but then they buried me.
Yeah, I don't know. It was really weird. It was a weird move. It did not engender me to Simon Baz much.
No,
as
I
a
guess
person,
not.
As a person who didn't like read much of Green Lantern at all, much less Simon Baz's
so
very,
far
very
behind,
brief
yeah.
flash in the pan run, I was like, Simon Baz is kind of a dick. And I'm sure I'm not supposed to think that, but the way in which he was presented in this book made me think like, wow,
They need to build up a buddy cop dynamic is what they need. You can't have two buddy cops who get along right away. They need to get to the end of the first arc and then they get along.
But they do wind up sneaking in a Guy Gardner jab, so
there's
always there's always room to kick that dead horse.
While you're at it.
But yeah, the art was fantastic. The book was fun. The characters were realistic and believable. Like I felt the things that the writer wanted me to feel, and I got the characters, and I me not really digging on Simon Baz's mojo was probably my interpretation of his action, but like I can imagine a lot of people being like, no, you know what? Screw Jessica Cruz. Like Simon Baz does deserve to have some time. Like this is bullshit. Like
yeah,
that's how it's supposed to feel.
Yeah, that's Sam Humphries writing that.
Sam Humphries has been around for a while and knows what he's doing. It's
had a very underrated Secret Wars time when he did that Planet Hulk thing with Doc Green and Captain America.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
I quite enjoyed that one. I don't feel people gave him the respect he deserved for that one, so it's nice to see him writing a big AAA book like Green Lantern.
So how much Green Lantern knowledge should you have before you read this book?
I don't think you need any.
That's
really
good.
None at all.
No, you need to at least know what the Guardians are.
We're still on Green Lantern.
Okay, good. I was like, we moved to Civil War?
Because that's been one of my biggest issues for New 52 Green Lantern, because I was so far behind in Green Lantern for so long, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to catch up slowly, and I'm like, man, a lot of this is impenetrable if you don't go back from the
It's
very
so
beginning.
overwhelming. I don't even know how to get into it.
Because they kept the continuity, because they kept the Jeff Johns stuff, so you need to have read it all.
Now, being the big Green Lantern fan that I am, I've literally read everything.
Yeah,
I felt like this is the probably
generalissimo.
safest place for new people to come in because they actually explain everything for once.
That's good.
Normally they don't
Nice.
explain what's going on, and the fact that there's they even make a comment to, "Oh, you're the sixth human Green Lantern."
Yeah.
Like they make references to this is the situation. Like you're the new Green Lanterns, and then Hal Jordan explains what they do, and he explains where he's going, and he explains what they're doing. I feel like the DC saw the problem that all three of you guys saw.
Yeah.
And their idea was, give us two brand new Green Lanterns, so we're going to learn with them.
Clean slate, fresh start.
Sounds
And then the
good to
older
me.
fans can read the Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps if they want to keep up
And
with
it's basically Hal Jordan literally stating that, hey, I'm going to go do all that crazy space stuff. All you guys have been following everyone. I'm over here.
And if you want to see what happened with Sinestro, go read my book.
There's a moment where he's like, no. You two will be the Justice League Green Lanterns, and I'll be the solo Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I'm too big for the League.
So it's fine. Yeah, I thought it was cool. My only issue, like I said, there's a rogue guardian that opens the book, and you're like, if you don't know what a guardian is, then you won't know what a rogue guardian is. Like, you will not get it.
Have we had at this point?
Did they show when he opened what was in that box he opened? I don't think they did.
Rainbows came out.
Yeah, that's it.
So he's
we had
got
a
Marcellus
Care Bear in the
Wallace's
box?
box.
I love your explanation. Rainbows came out.
But literally, it was a rainbow that came out. So you don't even see what I mean, obviously it's rings, but whatever.
So he's trafficking in Skittles, is what you're saying? Taste the rainbow.
Maybe that was the Guardian that was on the Star Trek book, and he's the one that let the rings go in Star Trek.
That was so great. Green Lantern Star Trek, if you haven't read it, is solid.
Sal is a big fan.
It's a great book.
On a
my
complete
favorite
side
Green
note, the whole story to Star Trek Green Lantern is the most entry friendly point for Green Lantern ever,
Oh.
because it literally opens with the world ended and these select Green Lanterns survived to the real world. That's it. No, you don't need to know nothing.
Nice.
Okay, so I guess we should move over to the hot topic of the day. Civil War 2.
Issue number 1,
Number
which
1.
is technically issue 3 if you count the free comic book day and the 0 issue.
Oh god. Are
Yeah.
they separate? I thought they were the same thing.
Yeah, they were the
Nope.
same thing.
Oh, yeah, but they're all connected, though. In fact, you really have better have read that free comic book day issue because that's the inciting incident that gets everyone fighting.
Yeah.
And you don't get to see it in this book.
No, well, you see snippets and you see David Marquez's like versions of select panels from it, but otherwise, like, yeah, you need to read that book.
It was very
I didn't
important.
read it, and I felt fine actually.
That's
Yeah,
good.
So
There you go.
it was hard to
issue
get.
just had way too much talking, and I didn't care.
You have a lot of talking.
See, I guess I dug it more than you guys. I thought it was fun that they went out of their way to show the heroes having a party and having a good time and celebrating before they inevitably break them apart and have them
that
all
was fun.
fighting.
There's a
That was
lot of
great.
characters.
No, I had a great time reading this book. I loved it. I loved the issue. I thought the art was fantastic. Bendis is kind of back. Back in as much as like Bendis had written like what 4 events in a row,
At
Yeah.
least.
and so it's kind of nice to see him like not have to work with Remender and just write his own story.
Yeah, his batteries are recharged. This is
Yeah.
a more exuberant Bendis.
He's like, okay, and Hickman's gone. I'm gonna have the characters like repeat themselves and say like and talk about like talking pop culture metaphors again. We're gonna have like a big celestial problem that really should be an event that
own
Rob
event,
would get really
yeah.
excited about, and
Oh,
we're just
yeah.
gonna make it go away in a second.
That was the funniest thing in the world. I'm not gonna lie. We open the issue, we jump into the problem with the Celestials.
A
and
rogue Celestial is attacking
And I
her.
literally was like, oh, this has got to be a dream. I'm just going to skip all this crap. This is the vision of the future.
I
so
bet-
I started,
I bet
I
Bob was
started
getting the
skipping, and I'm like,
papers.
wait, no one's waking up. Like,
No,
is this actually
it just keeps
happening?
going.
So how much
bet-
of the story can we talk about?
On this show, this is your warning now. We are going to discuss Civil War II story. If you want us to sit here and talk for the next 20 minutes about it, this is what we have to do. Otherwise, go check it out at the end of the show.
I think it's such a big story, we're not going to spoil anything. I think anything that happens, you pretty much know happened already.
Well,
so.
and never mind the fact it's only issue 1 out of 7, so whatever
Yeah.
spoiler, the whole thing's a setup anyway, so we're
Exactly.
free to talk about it.
It's true.
So, I mean, the basically, this was your warning. If you're watching the video post, if you're watching it on the stream now, go for it. But I got a feeling they all want to know our opinions on the fact that War Machine died.
Yes, he did. And
Not only-
She-Hulk might be crippled.
Yeah,
She's dead too.
coma.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
no,
she
they,
died.
they left that one in the air. It was like,
She was
She
flatlining at the
flatlines.
end, yeah.
Well, she'll be fine.
They could resuscitate her. They could shock her back.
how did? Okay, first off, let's start off with this. Okay, because I said it in the chat when it happened. I was like, oh my god, the stakes went through the roof immediately.
It was Anchorman. This escalated quickly. This really got out of hand. This
Look,
jumped right off.
I found because I love how they set up everything. They set it all up with the concept of it. There's an Inhuman that can see the future. Should we or should we not act on these these
Right.
visions? We knowing what's going to happen. Should we act on it? And then
Yeah.
they just left it alone. And then they acted on it.
And then I like that. I even mentioned that in my own review that's going up at 8. This idea where it's like, and you know what? And if they had just left it here at the end of this argument, everything would have been fine. But Carol had to push it.
Listen, my takeaway from this story.
Wait, hold on. You're on Captain Marvel's side, aren't you?
Yeah, of course I am.
Of course,
Of course
because
I am.
she's her favorite.
So,
yeah.
Iron Man is the worst. Just like he's the worst.
He's
the
trying
worst
to own the
person.
future. He's being bossy with it. I agree.
The problem is that like all of his opinions for me become invalid because he only is motivated by like his own personal relationships.
I don't
and
want to
loss
have to
and-
fight my own friends, basically, is what it came down to. It's like, if this kid
He
sees
even
something
made a
that
comment
excites
about
me or
that.
someone else, yeah.
He even made a comment about that when Captain America was going to have an opinion on it. He was like, "We're not doing this."
No.
I can't argue with you anymore, Steve. We all know what happens when that happens.
But it's just like he's getting like pissed off at Carol, and it's just like he only got super angry like when only one of his people was
because
gone.
it's
You know,
broke,
like,
yeah.
and I'm just like, I do get that, and yeah, that sucks, that's upsetting. But he's like, Carol, it's like you killed him with your own hands, and I'm
Exactly.
like,
And
If it
get
had just
off.
been She-Hulk who
regardless of
got
us
her
knowing-
and died, he probably would have been okay with
That's
it,
what I'm
but because
saying,
he saw it
he's
as a
so
personal
selfish.
slight. Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
in all honesty, like, I get what you're saying with that, but I honestly feel like the roles should be reversed. I feel like to set up for the Captain Marvel movie and make her kind of like the new, like, ha 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 character in the Marvel Universe, they're trying to make Tony Stark like, oh, he cares about his friends, and
Yeah. I agree.
with the way their personalities have been before this, I honestly feel like Tony Stark should have been on the let's stop things from happening, and Captain Marvel had been on the side of no, why would we do that? You know, we're gonna. I feel almost like they've been reversed just for the sake of making Tony Stark likable.
It is interesting, and you could talk circles around it for days, and in fact, we will. My reading of it was Tony had to be on the side of protecting civil liberty because of the role he played in the original Civil War. He's like, no, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because Stark really, at this point, should know better than to, like, draw lines in the sand.
Yeah.
Like, you know, him being like, I'm gonna do something about this and we're gonna have to fight.
Well,
like,
in his defense, he didn't, though. He left it. He just walked away. And the book didn't progress until Carol went ahead and tried to stop
I know,
something.
but I'm saying, like, throughout the whole thing, like, even, I get you're losing your friend, that sucks. You've lost people before, Stark.
And you
like,
never went to war over it.
Never went to war over it. It feels a little flimsy, but, like, but that art is so good, and the characters are so fun, and the story is gonna be like, you know, it's gonna be fun to watch.
I like
down.
that they gave Ulysses kind of a character and kind of a point, and have him being like, look, I have these powers. I don't know how to use them. I don't even really know how they work. And meanwhile, everyone's pulling me in a million directions. They want me or they don't want me.
Yeah, like he's definitely like the sympathetic character in that, and I like how they do that.
Yeah.
I wonder who's going to say it first, the also important thing, because clearly they're going to be fighting over him. Who's going to be the person to say, look, this isn't a crystal ball you're fighting over. This is a human being, you jackass.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Bendis will be able to avoid that. There was a funny moment for me where it was clear that it should have been the X-Men. And
we see Old Man Logan for a second. He shows up.
No, but I mean, the humans are, you know... This almost feels like it should be an Avengers vs. X-Men book, where because you know the Inhumans are not going to be like, yeah, just take our guy and do whatever. Like,
well, they were shockingly forthcoming. Medusa's like, no, we need to be transparent with the superhero.
That was so weird and out of character for the Inhumans. That would be an X-Men move.
We're only doing that because then the Inhumans will learn not to trust humans and become more isolated. We know that Stark's going to go, like, attack the Inhumans, and they're going to be like, oh.
Because
like,
he's the worst, yeah.
Yeah, you know that's going to happen. You know that, like...
Even though I'm on his side, I agree with you, Sammy. He is the worst most of the time.
Most of the time, he is... it's funny, because sometimes he's right, but he's so unsympathetic.
He's still a dick
about it.
That's what
I'm saying. Like, even if he is on the right side, I just can't get behind him because his reasons are so, like... ridiculous.
I feel like, and that goes back to what I was saying with Bendis writing the actual Iron Man book now. I feel like this is a way for him to be like, no, Iron Man's a great guy. You all got him misunderstood.
Yeah. Look at all of these moments that I'm going to give you in which he's sympathetic.
Right now in issue 1, it's a lot more even-handed than Millar's Civil War was, where by the end, Iron Man and his side were just the villains. Here, everyone's got an adequate enough argument. You could say, well, hey, you know, Captain Marvel went off half-cocked, and she's, you know, basically trying to use this person she sees as just an asset, being like, I'm going to shake him like an 8-ball until the future falls out of him.
For me, this is the most frustrating thing, because both Tiffany and myself have been trying to like Carol Danvers, Ms. Marvel / Captain Marvel since the Ms. Marvel series started. And every single time that she gets a spotlight, she becomes so unsympathetic and so militaristic that it's impossible to agree with her.
I will say, in the team books that other people write, every time they make her like that. Like, she's like the general, the captain, like, and I'm like, okay, well, that's one aspect of her character. Like, why don't you use her for that? But yes, I totally agree.
Whenever people describe her, they're like, she was an Air Force captain.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, first thing first, okay, like, how about we talk about, like, what she wants and what she needs? And even when her first miniseries launched, or, well, it was supposed to be an ongoing series, but cancellations. Where she's like, I want to be the best superhero in the world. And I'm like, and so I'm going to hire a publicist. And I'm like, this is a Wonder Man book. Like, this is not a sympathetic character. Like, she just wants to be the best and she wants everyone to know it. That's
like no one ever was.
Or it would be cool. Don't poke him.
I will say this, as unsympathetic as we're stating, Carol even acted like, and that's what I loved about the end of this book, is you kind of, like, when they first announced Civil War 2, and they're like, oh, Captain Marvel wants to use the Inhuman to see the future and prevent it. Iron Man doesn't. It was very easy to be like, I agree with this or that.
Yeah.
But at the end of this, I don't, like, we can all joke and be like, I side with Iron Man, I side with Captain Marvel, but honestly, issue 1, they've really blurred that line
It's
right off
a very
the bat.
complicated issue.
It's going to be complicated. That's the thing, is that this whole thing, there is no clearly defined lines, and the way in which the Marvel universe has been laid out, like the Spider-Man Iron Man conflict. Spider-Man's going to be on Captain Marvel's side, or Captain Marvel's side, because of the breadcrumbs they've been leaving in both the Amazing Spider-Man book and also in this issue, but not necessarily because Spider-Man fundamentally believes in what Captain Marvel's doing. It's because of his own.
He's just mad at Tony.
Yeah, he's just mad at Tony Stark. So you're getting lines will be drawn and alliances will be forged, but I think it's all going to be very gray and uncomfortable.
The two Captain Americas are going to be on 2 different teams now because
they
they've been
always
having
are.
And
issues.
one's a Nazi.
Especially since one of
I'm
them.
glad you mentioned that. And one's a Nazi, which might explain why he's on the curtailing of civil liberties team.
Unless Bendis doesn't like Nick Spencer.
We talked about this before. Unless he doesn't care, in which case it's just like whatever.
He's gonna be like, no, this is before that.
At this time, he wasn't a Nazi who had supposedly been a Nazi his whole entire life.
He wasn't Hydra. He wasn't always Hydra yet.
He took weekends off from being Hydra. You didn't know that.
Yeah.
I will say, by the end of this issue, the Civil War issue, I do agree with you, Benny. It was kind of like, okay, these lines are kind of blurred now, and it did make such a good argument for both sides. Like, there's pros and cons, and I think probably the coolest thing that'll come from this is probably all the discussions people are going to have from it. So there's that.
So here's the big question. And I asked this before the show, before you came here, Sam, and I want to ask it on the air right now.
Okay.
Do we feel like whatever happens in this Civil War is going to stretch out for 2 years? Or do we feel like they're going to mass kill a bunch? Because this is where I'm leading to right now. Because if She-Hulk is dead and War Machine's dead, is this going to be a game of mass killing a bunch of them, and then we have some way to retroactively reverse time and change our decision and make it not happen?
Yeah.
Because it's so weird that we've got She-Hulk on her deathbed and War Machine dead.
Or, do we have new characters to fill those slots? Because we kind of seem to be having another young armor wearer in the Iron Man book who looks like she could possibly become a new War Machine. And I don't know if they would replace She-Hulk with anybody, but...
Well, so are those characters going to have their own issues, like their own ongoings at all?
No,
not
So
yet.
then they could
dead.
kill them if they want.
Well, She-Hulk's in A-Force, but that's replaceable of her role in that, so...
She-Hulk has regrettably been unprofitable for a very long time, and it's
Which
proven...
is so sad because she's had such great runs.
She's a great character.
She's a great character. She has great runs, but unfortunately, as far as the public goes, as far as the movie-going public goes, that's female Hulk, and that's an unoriginal idea. Like, how many times have you tried to explain to a non-comic reader, name me one very strong female character in the Marvel Pantheon? She-Hulk. And they're like, She-Hulk?
And their eyes glaze over.
I'm guessing also Spider-Woman is very popular, and Ms. Captain America. Like, come on. And it's like, no, they're all really cool, and she's been around for 30 years or 50 years, and she's, John Byrne's run is, no, they don't
I
listen.
don't know. I think the fan response, I don't know if fans of She-Hulk are going to let them kill her off for 2 years and, have no presence.
I mean, heck, they tried to bring that Charles Soule's book back pretty hard, so...
The fans of She-Hulk couldn't save a Charles Soule book.
Yeah.
Now, that art was real bad.
By the end, it was.
I did not like the art.
It was real hard to keep that book afloat.
But the dialogue was so sharp, and he pulled on his own lawyer.
And also, it was that, just as a quick tangent about She-Hulk, having Kevin Wada beautifully do these amazing covers.
So misleading, am I right?
You're like, yes! Whoa, this is real bad.
Just on a tangent, someone doing that right now, the book Silk.
Yes.
The covers are gorgeous, and you open it, we're like, who drew this?
It's very frustrating.
It's so frustrating. By the way, but inversely, in bringing it back, David Marquez's art on Civil War is so good.
Oh,
it's
so good in this book.
It's really
I hope that they've been doing it for months. I hope that A, it's not delayed. B, it doesn't get sloppy, and I really, really hope he's been working on this book for a while.
Next issue is the guy that draws Silk.
I usually complain about the avalanche of variant covers, but I checked out a bunch of the variant covers they had for Civil War 2. They're all pretty good.
Oh, really? I haven't seen them.
They're pretty good. There was an especially funny one I liked. It was a Gwen Poole variant of all things. It's her dressed as a Confederate soldier on a horse with an M16 going, I'm off to Civil War, and the artist down at the bottom going wrong Civil War. That was pretty funny.
Hold on.
It's pretty funny.
That's fun.
It was good.
Okay.
I'm like,
I mean,
That book, by the way, Gwenpool 2 was great.
Yeah,
Was it
Gwenpool's
actually?
great,
See,
so
I dropped off. I'm just like, this was a cute joke. I wonder if they'll be able to keep it funny.
Yeah.
I read Gwenpool 2. I was like, oh, on a lark, and I'm like, this is pretty solid.
Really? So they keep the joke funny for 2 issues? Okay.
It's not funny. It's
Oh.
No,
not funny anymore.
no, yeah, no.
It's serious now.
well, didn't
More or
'cause
less.
I read issue 2. Like they're starting to bring it back to like, why is she here? What is she doing? And
Yeah.
they're actually trying to like. Unlike what happened to Spider-Gwen, which as much as I like Spider-Gwen, I feel like that fell off the rocker after the first 5 because they were like, we don't know what to do now.
No, it was
The world was more interesting than Spider-Gwen herself.
yeah.
But
I
unlike
like
that for Gwenpool, they're very clearly trying to make you care about her this time. Like,
Which is interesting because, like Joel said, like it started off as like a joke, right? Like
Yeah.
just kind of like, oh, look at this funny Christmassy special, and then
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
That's weird that they're trying to make me care.
Yeah, Gwenpool had no business being anything other than a variant cover.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Oh no, I actually agree with that 100%. But I do like the idea that they're trying to, if they're gonna do this, try and do it right. You
And
know?
I'm a guy who found issue 1 fascinating because I'm like, oh, she's even more meta and even more fourth wall breaky because she's from our world. Oh, they've given her all the bits that Deadpool himself doesn't do anymore because he's evolved and changed and
Yeah.
matured as a character to the point where even he doesn't senselessly murder people anymore, except for
Yes.
in the Spider-Man Deadpool book because that's Joe Kelly writing, and Joe Kelly doesn't care about what
Joe-
Duggan has been doing.
No, he didn't
Joe
kill
Kelly
a bunch
does
of
not
people in that
care.
one. He killed Peter Parker, but
Like past
Wow.
that
I
book is nuts.
no, but he hasn't been killing. I mean, that's part of the whole thing. Like he wants to prove to Spider-Man that he's a good guy again, but he
Yeah.
still takes the odd job on the side, which happened to be kill Peter Parker.
Right.
Have you not
I'll
been reading
let-
that one, Sammy?
Oh no, I'm
Oh,
not.
okay. Yeah, you
I'll
should.
admit I
It's
dropped off Spider-Man Deadpool after issue 1 when it seemed
Dude.
like, oh, they're not going to honor any of the characters.
Oh
No,
no!
they're not
Like
gonna do that.
5 issues into that book has been incredible.
Okay.
Yeah.
And,
you
and,
say
and,
so. I'll
and from
check
the
that
looks of things, they're going to get rid of One More Day. So
It's like literally okay. So let's spoil that book because it's freaking amazing. Just okay.
2 weeks old now.
What?
it's 2 weeks old now. That one.
It's
that's
2 weeks
spoiled.
old. I'm sorry. Spider-Man dies. He doesn't go to hell because he's too good of a person.
Right.
But while he's like in like
Limbo.
purgatory or limbo, Mephisto shows up and he's like, "I took something from you. I have a secret." And you're like, "Holy crap! How did this get past editorial?"
And why are they doing it here in the
Yeah,
Deadpool
you know
It's
why
like
they're
here,
doing it
and
there?
it's like-
Because Dan Slott's not writing that.
Yeah,
one.
because
Yeah.
Dan Slott's like, "No, Mary Jane is a supermodel, so obviously she's stupid." Lol.
No, it's funny because Mephisto even says, he goes,
His face.
"This is why you'll never be happy, Peter Parker."
Yes. Oh!
It's
Teddy
almost-
is
it's
losing
almost
his
like-
shit right now.
It's almost like Joe Kelly was like, I'm gonna say what you did is dumb. I'm gonna say it, Slott, in my book.
Well, not only that, like, well, Slot didn't have anything to do with that. It's just like he's like the retcon of like Tony Stark and Mr. Fantastic and Doctor Strange using magic to make everyone forget. Like, no, it was me. You really did make a deal with the devil, and you have to deal with that. And I'm like, cool, because they will.
At some
I'm in.
point.
And you
Go
and
read it, Joel, and you'll tell us how amazing it is. All right, so anyway, back to Civil War 2.
Yeah. Anyway, but
I mean,
it's
everyone
a solid
agrees it's
book.
good. I mean, I can say right now, if you have just been watching the Marvel movies,
Yeah.
jump in now. You're perfectly fine.
Oh, yeah,
Even
oh,
if you
yeah.
only read issue 1, because that's what I did, you're going to be fine. If you do, I do know for a fact if you read the Zero and the Free, you will know more. I mean, obviously.
It's off to a pretty solid start so far. Here's hoping they
Yeah.
can keep up the momentum, and here's hoping they don't fall into a thing like they did with the original Civil War, with one side just being so unsympathetic and so villainous by the end, where it's like, why do I even care about your side? The second they're like, hey, you know what? Group of supervillains, how about you fight with us?
Yeah.
So let's have a little bit of fun before we close this out and then do our giveaway for the comics of the day. Who do you think's going to die?
okay.
Well, geez, I was guessing War Machine and She-Hulk,
Yeah.
and now they are, so now I don't even know who's next.
This is all theories, guys. We do not have advanced copies, so we're
we
just
don't
guessing.
know. Yeah, people think that like we have like we like hang out at the Marvel offices and DC
wish.
like editorial. Like, no.
I'm gonna throw Ulysses in there because I get the feeling he's gonna be one of those characters where he won't have much life after this event, after basically
Yeah.
being a prop in it. So
I
throw
can see
his
that, and that also being the resolution to the problem. Like, he's no longer here.
name. He's also getting a mini series though. He's getting like a 3-issue mini as part of Civil War. So good for him.
I think it's going to be somebody really young.
Mm.
Because then it'll be like, oh, Oh no, they were so little.
Right,
Like,
and they lost. Yeah.
like somebody like no, but they've got to really care about them. Like they got to make us really care about them.
Oh, like
too.
not America Chavez.
Oh no! Hey,
Hey,
America
she's
Chavez
great.
is fun.
I'm saying like that'd be sad, but like
no,
I'm-
like
you'd be sad, both of you. But like as
It's true.
far as Marvel readers would go, they'd be like, oh, what?
You know what they'll do? They'll bring back Robbie Reyes, the muscle car driving Ghost Rider, and they'll kill him.
God.
I mean,
do.
I don't know who else is gonna go. I mean, maybe no one. Maybe this will be the end of it. Like we've done the deaths. That's the end of the whole.
Wouldn't
Process.
that be
that would
something?
surprise-
Start off with your deaths and then do nothing for the rest.
Yeah, they could kill Stark.
I hope they do. But
What
that's
if
still
both
good
Captain
finale.
Marvel and Stark die?
No way are they going to do that. They're getting Brie Larson to play her now. They're
Oh
going to.
no!
Rumored.
Whatever. The movies don't
Rumored,
goddamn matter.
Sal.
I'm
With
just
the
saying.
release of-
The
with the
movies
release-
influence these things. The reason why there's a Civil War 2 is because there was a Civil War movie.
The
That
reason
doesn't matter
there's an
because
apocalypse
in the
event
movie said
going on
Captain
right
America's
now.
an all-American true hero. The comic said he's a Nazi, so it
They are
doesn't matter.
not going to kill a character that the movie-going public doesn't know exists.
Because
Yeah,
they can
that's-
translate that into money of people buying.
They
They are
comics.
making her a major
Stark.
thing.
They could kill Stark, and then it would be like, oh look, who's the new reigning person now? You're gonna get
Here's
a movie.
My big ones. My guess is Stark or Parker will die.
I thought that too, but that just I feel like he's dead so much.
He has died more times in the last 5 years than we can count.
That just would that be surprising?
If it
You
is
know?
Parker,
Good.
he literally just died in Spider-Man Deadpool, so this will literally be like 2 times in like 3 months.
Right, but Bino Bendis didn't read that book.
Bendis.
But Bendis is like,
Are you
I
not
don't
a
care.
fan of Bendis,
I got
Tony?
my Spider-Man. My Spider-Man's here. Whatever, he's cool.
Yeah, Miles is happening. He's got teenage problems now. It's everything.
I
Because,
could
like-
see the death of Peter Parker happening, and then when he gets revived, like the way they revive him is they roll back time to Mary Jane and.
Oh my god.
interesting.
Oh, what if this ties into Marvel now? The only way to fix this is they have to roll back before Secret
Two
Wars.
Marvel
Marvel.
now.
They could
Wow.
do that. They could
You
do
know,
that.
did you see the new logo for Marvel now?
No.
I did.
The now is shattered.
Yeah.
Oh,
is it?
wow.
Like
New.
Like maybe time.
Innovative.
Yeah.
Tell you what, if the,
Hulk.
if the time is broken, can we do something with those damn young X-Men then?
Yeah, maybe they can all go away. I
Yeah.
love that moment in the book where they're like, "We should just get little Jean Grey in
Get
here."
little, not young time traveling.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Little
Little
G.
green.
But then
Jack.
what made me
Jean
laugh out
Grey,
loud
yeah.
was the next page. They do.
Yeah.
Which makes me think, hey, so these X-Men who are too young to drink were at Tony Stark's fancy booze party. Come on,
Oh
man.
no, they were not there. He just had to call them, and then they
He
were
literally
like,
had
"Oh,
to go
thanks for
and
the
fight.
invite."
I don't
Can I
know.
also
I
say,
would laugh so hard though if the end of this is like it rolls back time 5 years ago before they started everything crazy, and they're like, "Hey, Thor is him again. Jane Foster doesn't have
Oh my
cancer,
God.
and
They
Captain
could do
America's
it.
normal." And
They could do it.
They could.
Can I also say it was hilarious at the party when they're like, "Let's ask the Inhumans," and the Inhumans were like a annoying goth clique all the way
Over in the
all
corner by themselves, not mingling, not doing nothing.
what I
Because they were on
love is
Agents of
that they were
S.H.I.E.L.D..
like, "Thanks to the info Inhumans, let's go beat the boss, have the party." Then, by the way,
How did you
did
do
get
that?
this?
No one asked in the meantime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Also,
it was
way to
like,
not pay
where-
attention to what's happening in Doctor Strange, Bendis.
Oh, why is he? Oh yeah, all magic is gone, and yet they use magic to
all of the wizards show up with all the magic.
even though
Continuity.
they shouldn't be able to.
This
At
is like,
least
I don't
DC's
read your
doing
books. I'm
continuity
sorry.
again.
I don't
It's the time for you
care.
to become a super DC fan, Sammy. They're doing continuity. They can brought back all the good stuff.
True. It's funny when the shoe is on the other foot.
So did they de-age Tony Stark when I wasn't looking?
Yeah, he looks pretty young, doesn't he?
He looks like 19. He looks like he betrayed the Avengers and then died, and then they went back in time and grabbed his younger version of himself.
Wow,
know,
you're
actually,
so harsh.
I feel
Sal.
like they made him younger just to make it so it doesn't feel weird that he's hanging out with all these 15-year-old kids in the
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because his Avenger team skews a little young these days. He doesn't want to seem like the creepy uncle. Hey, Kamala Khan. Hey, Sam. You want to come to my party?
Who wants some armor?
Oh, side note, funny joke. Finally, War Machine asks, "When am I getting an updated suit?" And Tony Stark's like, "You're not."
Just
Never.
weld another machine gun on the shoulder. Are you compensating for something?
He dies. By the way, there were two lines that they ripped off from movies. Because like the welding the machine gun on your shoulder was just a joke from Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Where he's like, no, machine gun's very subtle.
And you know what? I bet Tony felt even worse about that because we clearly see Thanos punching him through the guts with
Yeah.
the suit and him saying,
Yeah.
well, shouldn't the suit have maintained? And he was
Yeah.
jokingly asking for a new suit. So he's blaming
You
himself.
know he's
about
blaming
it.
himself. No, I'm sorry. The line I'm thinking of is from Amazing Spider-Man, where they made a line from the movies. I was like, wow, how lazy. But anyway,
So okay, I mean, I think we can all agree. Great jumping on point. There is
Yes.
some and it's a big crossover, so everyone's involved in it right now.
Yep.
I'm a little irked that it's once again getting in the way of the goddamn Nova story, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
reading Nova. No, okay. So quick rundown for those of you who aren't reading Nova. Nova issues 1 and 2 reveal that his dad really wasn't his dad. So once again, we're back on that journey.
oh,
Three-
so then it definitely was Richard Rider.
no, no, his dad wasn't there. His dad was actually a clone. of his
An
dad.
alien was pretending to be his father.
Issues 3 and 4 were a random. His dad's missing, but hey, let's go on an adventure with Miles and Kamala. Okay,
Right.
And then 5, 6, and 7 were like he comes back and discovers it is a clone, and he's got to go find his dad. And then he ends 7 leaving the planet, and he calls up Tony Stark for help, and he says he's going to help, and then the bottom goes continued on issue 10, and I'm like, God damn it again!
And didn't they say in Avengers that they were going to go with him?
Yeah,
Yes, they did.
So that whole event is going to happen on issue 10.
Oh, okay.
So
gonna
that
have
I
to
can
wait
tell you
for
right now, your hopes of Tony Stark dying not going to happen.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
Going in
Yeah.
space.
He needs to
He's
be
not
around
going-
till
yeah,
at
he's going-
least issue
yeah.
10.
So we know Sam isn't dying. We know Miles isn't dying. We know Iron Man's not dying. Like, thanks a lot.
Yeah, anyone who's on the only all different Avengers is fine.
Apparently.
Or Bendis is like, I don't care, and then they do
No,
die.
he
and then-
doesn't care.
And then
He's
Wade's
gonna
got to
do
fix it. Wade's like,
Yeah,
damn it.
really. It was an LMD. That's
Yeah.
how.
Yeah. So, okay then. So that's the verdict on that one, guys. Stick around. I'm going to close out the show, but we are going to stay live. You can ask us whatever questions you want. Ask opinions, whatever. We'll be here for another, 10 minutes doing the giveaway. That's what we're going to be doing. We'll be giving away all 4 issues of Rebirth that came out this week.
Nice.
And Civil War 2, and I guess Power Rangers Pink, since you guys talked about that.
Yeah.
It's a great value.
So, and then Sal's random books he talked about. So, thank you
I
guys
also
for joining
read
us
Punisher
today.
this-
As usual, this show airs every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. We talk about all the hot books that came out the day before, and we let you know about all the books that did come out. I'm Manny the Comicstorian. I dramatically recap comic books over on my channel, Comicstorian. Over on my... You know what? Let you guys introduce yourself. Sal.
Hi, I'm Sal from Comic Pop. Go to comicpop.net for all your comic book discussion conversational needs.
Joel.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Cape Joel. You can find me on the channel Cape Joel. I review all the new comics weekly. I do single issues, which, sets me apart from the other guys. I also do fun cooking videos in Caped Kitchen. And, podcasts. You can listen to the Comic Multiverse. I got an unboxing going up this week. It's nothing. Whatever.
Hi,
And
I'm
Sammy.
Bill.
Yep, yep.
I'm Sammy from Sammy Reads. I review comics and do comics, graphic novels, and discussions and questions, and kind of an all-encompassing comic community. So,
And watch out for Sammy and Tiffany on DC Fans channel when they talk about Hanna-Barbera books.
Yeah.
Barbera,
cool.
yes.
So that is it. That is the general show, guys. Thank you for watching on the channel Comic TV, where all of this stuff gets re-uploaded to, or listening to it on the Weekly Polls, iTunes feed, or the SoundCloud, or wherever the hell Joel's supposed to be putting it, but he's not.
Was that up to me? I've been sending it off to someone else. Was that supposed to be me?
I don't know. I just like blaming you for things. All right,
There you-
guys. We'll see you next time right here. Stick around if you're watching this live. We're giving away the comic books next.
Yay.